No tears, no time to cry.
That's where you get. When you don't get enough cupcakes.
All fellas keep looking at us, 'cause me and my girls looking like what? DJ keeps on spinning the guns like that.
To be or not to be an entrepreneur? That is the question. So, you want to start a Shakespeare company in Detroit. Let me get this straight. You want to start a Shakespeare company in Detroit in the middle of a bankruptcy. Those are questions I've been asked throughout my entrepreneurial journey, and the truth is that I've always loved Shakespeare. Since I was 8 years old and my mother passed me William Shakespeare's complete works, by the time I was 17, I was in love with every lyric, every rhyme, every metric of the iambic pentameter. I loved it. That's how this girl from 7 Mile fell in love with that dude from Stratford. But I didn't know what to do with my love for Shakespeare. I had no clue, but I knew I wanted to start a Shakespeare company. So I heard about this wonderful place, this magical place for entrepreneurs. And in 2012, I attended Tech Town. I attended their First Step program, and it was by far the best step I have ever taken as an entrepreneur so far. And I got all the tools I needed. I got a business plan, I got a feasibility plan, and I got a pitch. And I used all three of those things to talk to anybody who would listen to me. Anybody. I talked to about 120 people, and every single one of those people rejected me. 3 of those rejections stand out. The first one was at a professional networking event. I was speaking to a gentleman. I poured my heart out. I told him how much I love the arts, how passionate I am about my city. I told him how much I love Shakespeare. The arts are important to this city. People don't go to New York City for the financial district. They go for the arts. They go for the experience. I told him all of those things. And he looked at me and said, well, that's cool, but have you ever thought about starting a food business? The second rejection that comes to mind, same thing. I was at a professional networking event, and I was talking to a gentleman. I spilled my guts again, told him how much I love Shakespeare, how important the arts are to this community. And he looked at me and he laughed and he said, boring. It was a joke to him. It broke my heart. The third time, probably the most disappointing time, I decided I was going to do it on my own. I was going to fund my own Shakespeare company. So I asked my family, and they said no. Either because they didn't want to or they weren't able to, but they said no. I felt like I was in the middle of an ocean, and there was no land, and there were no people in sight. I was alone. It's the loneliest I have ever been in my entire life. But something in me, I don't know what it is, I don't know what you call it, something in me kept me going. And I kept talking to people, anybody who would listen. I kept talking. And one day, out of the blue, a woman who I had been courting for a business meeting, she called me and she said the sweetest 6 words I have ever heard in my entire life. Do you want to have coffee? And I said, yes, I do. We made a meeting at Great Lakes Coffee. I remember the day, it was a Wednesday. The weather was perfect. It wasn't too hot, it wasn't too cold. I had on a cute little jacket, a cute little skirt. There was a little bit of an overcast, but that was okay. I went to Great Lakes Coffee. It smelled like coffee. There were people talking, the energy was good. She walked in and she said, so why Shakespeare? And I had an answer. I had an answer for every single question she asked me. I had never been so eloquent in my life. I had never been so confident in my life. And it's because I had been rejected 120 times that 121st time got me a show. It got me my first show. I walked into that coffee shop an artist. I've been an artist my entire life. When I left, I was an entrepreneur. I am a business owner. She called me back a few weeks later and she said, Sam, would you like to do Othello at Grand Circus Park? Detroit 300 Conservancy wants to give you the funding to do that. And we did it. August 14, 2013, we pioneered the first outdoor Shakespeare performance in Detroit with an all-local cast. And I looked in the audience, and there were black people, and there were white people, and there were young people, and there were old people. There were city dwellers, there were suburbanites, they were all these people. They were there for Shakespeare. Yes, the arts matter. They were there because I had been rejected all those times. It was a blessing in disguise. I remembered a quote when I looked out into the audience from Othello when he's talking to Iago about humankind and the nature of man. And he looks at him and he says, Iago, 'tis within ourselves that we are thus or thus. Everything we need is within us. Everything Sam needs is within Sam. And because I didn't give up and realized that everything I needed was in here, Othello happened. So the question, to be or not to be an entrepreneur, the answer is definitely to be. Thank you.